Hi, my name is Gene Showalter, and this is my TQA Groundwork video for my Intro to Colt Starting class. TQA is a nonprofit that focuses on giving clients a list of expectations for their horse to be trained to do at the end of training. TQA also gives a list to trainers for how a horse thinks and works and how to easily be trained, called the Foundation for Perfection. The goal of the Foundation for Perfection is learning to eliminate resistance while doing a job, and it does this by using the training trifecta, which is foundation, temperament, and task completion. On this list here, you can see that I have a column for task completion and foundation, and another column for temperament. Using the categories in the task completion and foundation column, I'll go through some videos exempling different scoring and how I'd score my horse on that, while also keeping in mind the temperament side of the table and how well my horse scores in these categories. In this first video, I'm doing good to catch. You want to use my body to influence my horse's body, getting to where he will set up to where I can walk up and catch him. Now that he's kind of set, I'll walk up. I try to get his thought with me here. He's very clearly distracted. Get his head and thought towards me, and now that he's with me, I'll go ahead and put the lead rope over, so that way if he does try to move, I have a hold of him. And then I'll go ahead and take my halter, making sure to bring his nose towards me with the halter, and putting it on. Overall, I give this a 2 because other than getting him set up to catch, he was great. And here we have good lead. I want my horse to be with me, not too close, not too far away. And here you can see that he's connected to me. When I stop, he's going to stop. Not quite as fast as I want to, but he does respond to my body. And he also leaves with me without me having to pull too much. And even throughout all the ruckus, he was good. I will score that a 1, positive 1. Here we have stage 1 with willing submission. And you can see here this one wasn't great because he wasn't quite there, but he did do it. I would probably score that a 0. And then in this next one, that was great. I didn't have to ask too much. I'm going to give that a +1, so probably a +0.5 overall. Here we have stage 1 in a crisis, which wasn't set up great by me. And then he didn't stop and face as well, so I'm going to score that a -1 just because he didn't respond quite as well as I wanted to. Here we'll go over horizontal direction. She's getting the horse to fold into a C around the rider's leg, or in this case, me standing on the ground. And he does a good job of keeping that C shape. He also steps up well with his inside hind leg following under his navel, and his outside hind following outside. You can see here his steps really well. I'm going to score him a +2 on this because he does a really good job of following that C. Here we have stage 2, which is backing. I didn't set this up very well, but he does a good job, so I'm going to give him a +1 there. He was really pulling back with his hindquarters. Here we have stage 3, and that's taking his feet laterally. He does a good job. I should have stopped before he fell apart, but after he started his fall apart, he fixed it. So I'm going to give him a 0 or maybe a +1 on that maneuver. This stage 3 right here, after he falls into it, was a lot better. You can see the crossover more. And other than his spook, that was a good one. So I'm going to give him a +1 overall. Here we have stage 4, which is stopping an inside hind foot and bringing it around. He was not set up well on that. But on this stage 4, I made sure to set him up to where he could get that crossover. And right there, he had a really great crossover in his front end. We're going to try and go to the right again. I also didn't set him up very well for this. So overall, I'm going to give him a +0.5. Here we have picking up feet. He does a good job. He holds his foot. He's a little bit distracted, but he's still doing good for me. On that front foot, I'll give him a +1. On his hind foot, he is watching me, and he gives me that foot eventually. Right here, he struggled with me a little bit, but he did give it to me, and he didn't pull his foot. So I'm going to give him a +1 overall on picking up feet. Then we'll go through temperament, self-preservation. So high self-preservation is often not ideal, especially for a horse that is about to go to a client. So the plus side of this scale is going to be the lower self-preservation side. And I'm going to go ahead and put him at a +2 on this because other than 1 or 2 spooks and other stuff going on in the arena, he was really calm, collected, and with me. So that's a +2 for self-preservation. In the confidence category, we want a horse to have high confidence so it can fill in for an inexperienced rider. I'm going to go ahead and give him a +1 because everything in this he seemed pretty confident in after I was able to deliver the cue. My third temperament category, we have willingness or willing submission. On the high side of this scale, we have our positives, which is willing. And he was very willing to do everything I asked, so I'm going to give him a +2 in that category. The fourth is reaction to social separation, with the high side of the scale being a calm horse and the low side being nervous. Everything we did was around other horses, so that is kind of hard to scale from the video, but overall I'm going to give him a +1 because he wasn't mothered to all the other horses, but he could have been more with me and separated from everybody else. Number 5 on the temperament is energy, and you want a horse to have high energy, but not too high of energy as far as a client goes. This horse I'm going to give a +2, which I would say is a little high for a client. I'd say the ideal for a client horse would be probably a +1. So as far as client horses goes, he could come down, but he did have good energy level for me. And then number 6 on the temperament scale, we have sensitivity, with a negative being dull and a high being responsive. As far as this goes, it's kind of the same as the energy. I don't want their sensitivity to be too high for a client. And on this horse, I'm going to give him a +2.5 because he was very sensitive. And I would say that is too high for a client. I would want a client horse to probably be a +1 as well. So once again, I prefer a sensitive horse, so +2.5 is not a bad thing for me, but it's probably not perfect for a client either.